Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. So if you go back and you watch a video that I did several months back entitled The Next Big Thing in the Collectibles Marketplace, I talk about the growing popularity amongst grading companies and auction firms who are very interested in getting into factory sealed and graded VHS movies, and they're looking to make it the next big thing. Well, apparently, Antique Trader also agrees with this assessment, along with Heritage Auctions, because on the cover of the March 15th, 2022 copy of Antique Trader that I do subscribe to, it's titled Back to the Future, VHS Movies Fast Forward Hottest Trend in Collecting. And if you turn to page 58, you get a couple of pages full all talking about this particular market and where it's going in the short term. Now, this is something that really worries me, guys, because I've said this before. A lot of you guys are not learning your lesson in a lot of these markets. We saw it already happen with vintage factory sealed graded video games. Now we're going to go through it again with vintage factory sealed graded VHS movies. A lot of market manipulators, a lot of investors are coming into these markets because it is a free market. They're propping up certain collecting categories, and a lot of the Timmies, Kimmies, and Poindexters out there that suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out, are looking at these prices accelerate, and they're going, wow, I better get in that market before prices rise even higher. And this is exactly what happened with graded video games. This is now what's going to be a thing with graded VHS tapes. So a lot of you guys reach out to me and you say, Shawn, what can we do about this trend? And I'm here to tell you, without any type of market regulation, without any type of action from collectors as a whole, this is going to be the norm going forward, guys. This is really where we're at. It's very easy right now in the year 2022 for a well-profiled investor who has a lot of money at his disposal to just take a couple $100,000, go into these markets, prime the pump, make it become a thing, and watch it explode and profit from it. And you have people right now that are in the top tiers of some of these collecting categories as investors that are profiting tremendously from these booms that are happening in some of these collecting categories. And it's really scary to me because as a consultant in the trade, the one thing that I'm worried about is there's a lot of speculators and there's a lot of unsophisticated investors that do not understand how these markets are being manipulated. And they're looking at some of these price movements and they're saying, I want to get in on that action. You know, I was just reading an interesting article. I think it was either in Bloomberg, maybe it was in the Wall Street Journal. I wish I could find it. And it was about cryptocurrency and how for every one person that made their fortune in cryptocurrency and got out and invested that particular money somewhere else, there were roughly 10 other people that were doing crazy things, trying to refinance their home, running up credit card debt, trying to replicate the success of that one individual who made it. And we saw this before in the .com stock era, before it crashed, with eToys, Pets.com, all these companies that were unproven. Investors and speculators who were unsophisticated were chasing the bandwagon in, trying to capitalize on a lot of these companies that pretty much went belly up. Meanwhile, the sophisticated investors who knew how to prime those markets, even though they were regulated. Remember, guys, stock transactions, at least in the U.S., are governed by the SEC, so there are regulations in place. Even though those markets were regulated, there was a lot of manipulation going on to the point where a lot of your high-profile investors, a lot of people that were really well-educated in finance, they were able to get in. They turned $10,000 into $500,000, $1 million or more in some instances. They quickly sold into the market. They took their profit and left. Meanwhile, it was all the speculators. It was all the Timmies, the Kimmies, and the Poindexters that were left holding the bag when those companies went bust. Now, to be fair, I want to make this very clear. I am not saying that graded factory sealed video games are going to go to zero. I'm not saying that graded factory sealed VHS games are not going to become the next big thing. But what I am telling you, For any one of you out there that is struggling with FOMO, fear of missing out, I hope this video reaches you, because I just want you to know you're not alone, and you don't need to bet the farm trying to be a top-tier investor or speculator in some of these markets, because in most cases, guys, a lot of these markets are rigged against you and you don't even realize it. That's why I teach a lot of the fundamentals on this channel about not only investing in antiques and collectibles, but just being aware of investing in general, even if we apply it to traditional asset classes, even if we apply it to commodities, even if we apply it to cryptocurrency. You know, there is a panacea of fraud that is brewing in a lot of these markets. And unfortunately, where we are as a society in the year 2022, no one wants to investigate it. It's like where we went from the 80s to the 90s to get here, it's almost like a lot of the regulators are asleep at the wheel. And there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of that right now in the overall market. And I hate to say this, it's going to be at the average person's expense. That's why I spend so much time cautioning you guys about investing in these markets, following certain trends, suffering from FOMO. Even my talk on cryptocurrency. A lot of people hate my views on cryptocurrency. For the record, I don't doubt that blockchain technology is going to be the next big thing. What I do doubt is that a lot of these cryptocurrencies that are right now selling for significant sums are going to be around 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. And a lot of you guys are fooling yourself thinking that a lot of these cryptocurrencies are going to exist in tandem without any government regulation, without any effect on their price, and they're never going to drop in value. I'm here to tell you, if you go back and you study what happened in certain collecting markets, look at Beanie Babies, look at dot-com era stocks back before the dot-com crash. If you look at these markets, there are parallels to what's happening right now in cryptocurrency and also up-and-coming collectibles. And I hate to tell you, there's a lot of collectibles that are going to get hit with a correction. You know, even my favorite collecting category right now, rare coins, rare pieces of graded currency, they are up in some cases 25, 30%. If that market corrects, there's a lot of people that are watching reserved investments going, hey, that Shawn guy, he's on to something. I'm going to put my money into a rare coin. Well, right now, you're paying a premium for that coin. Just like right now, if you invest in comic books, you're paying a premium because that market's on fire for the most part. So is the market for graded video games. So is the market for certain vintage toys. So is the market for certain collectible card games. So what I'm telling you is you need to use caution in a lot of these markets. A lot of you out there, I keep repeating this, most of you out there would be better off going after, for the long term, an S&P 500 index fund, a total stock market index fund, and just keeping your money there for the next 10 to 20 years. And I assure you, in most cases, you will make a lot of money. More so than what a lot of you are going to make trying to find the next big cryptocurrency or the next big thing in the antiques and collectibles trade. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.